Okay, so my objective today is to replace this Momo steering wheel from my 2005 Legacy GT, replacing that with this newer model red stitch, nice beefy leather steering wheel from a 2011 STI. Okay, now your battery's off and power is all disconnected. You can confirm that when I open my door, that light doesn't come on. Nothing happens when I push the horn. Nothing happens when I turn the key. So power's off. It's probably safe to take off your airbag at this point without any possibility of deployment. So next thing you want to do is take a Torx head bolt. It's a pretty large one. I'm not sure of the exact dimensions. And you're going to open two screws. One of them is right here. And same on the other side. Right there. And that's going to allow you to take your airbag off. I'll go ahead and do that and resume the video after. Okay, the screws are now undone and the airbag is free. Taking it off here. And you can see behind it, you've got the cables for the igniter and a ground cable. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect these and carry on. Because these aren't standard connectors, I'll quickly show how you disconnect them. You get your flathead screwdriver under the yellow part like this, pop that up, and then put it under the connector itself. And there you go. So now the airbag is off. You can excuse my lack of a nexus in there for the moment being. I'm going to be installing an amp soon and just going to do a little bit of rewiring there. Anyway, next step is to undo the steering wheel itself. So you've got this big hex nut in the middle here, and that's the thing that keeps your steering wheel onto the steering column. So we're going to go ahead and grab a large hex and get at it. So that's a bit of a tight nut to crack. It's a 17mm. I used an extension and I was able to do it with just a ratchet. Okay, the nut's off and the steering wheel should come off just like that. Just give me 1 second here, I'll go ahead and put these through. Oh, it looks like we have... Okay, so I need to undo this connection first. This is the roll connector, and that's my cruise control that's still stuck in there. So I'm going to undo that, then take this upstairs and do a little bit of work, and come back and resume the video. So I just got this old wheel off, and there are a few things that we need to do to convert this wheel to that wheel. As you can see, the airbag shape is a little bit different, so that's the first thing. Cruise control on this one is manual cruise control, and this one is the electronic cruise control. And you can also see that this one has radio buttons and Bluetooth as well. These I'm not going to deal with today. I'm going to release a second video later on where I do show how to install these. But for now, I'm going to be working on getting this cruise control over to here. So there are a couple of steps that we need to go through here. And basically we're going to transplant elements of this wheel onto that wheel. And transplant the airbag as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to unbolt this outer casing, and basically you do that by removing these screws, and then this should just pop right off. So that pops right off, just like that. Then the cruise control is going to come out of the shell here. I'll put that aside and then move on to the new wheel. Okay, I'm going to remove these cruise control and audio control buttons. Just 2 screws at the back here, and they'll pop right off with that harness. So now that you've got all those parts taken off of your steering wheels, you've got the cruise control, the steering wheel controls, and this Bluetooth control, we're going to work on splicing these controls into these controls. I haven't quite figured out how to hook that up yet, and I'm going to put it aside for now and deal with that at a later time. These audio controls, if you have existing audio controls in your car already, these should plug right in and work. If you don't, then you need to run some wires from the back of your stereo to your steering wheel to get these to work. I don't have them in my car already, and I'm going to need to run those wires, and at that time I'll worry about how to hook this up. For now, these controls are just going to sit in there and they're not really going to do anything, but that's okay with me. So to get these cruise controls to work, you're going to have to do a little bit of work here on these connectors. The connector that's in your car is this green connector, and it only has this one wire coming out. It'll be right in the center there, and it'll be just this wire coming out here for the ground. You're going to work on dividing this 8-pin connector into a 5-pin and a 3-pin. So there's 3 wires in here that do the same function as this cruise control does. And those wires you're going to take out here. So first thing you have to do is open up this connector because you need to reuse the pins. So there's a quick shot of the connectors hooked up. You can take a screenshot, pause the video, do whatever you need to do to get the reference there. And now I'm going to hook up the other green connector and give you a shot of that too. So here's a shot of all the connectors in place. Put a little bit of super glue in there just to keep them in. And I'm going to set this all back up in the wheel and try it out. So here's the last step. If you have your 05 to 07 style airbag and the airbag cover from what is it, 08 to 09, what I have here is the igniter that I'm going to swap into the new one. You can avoid doing this if you just buy a full 08, 09 airbag, but the problem with that is that's usually in the range of about $200, and that's very expensive compared to this, which came with my wheel for very little. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to undo these screws here, put it on here, do them back up, and it's as simple as that. Then I'm going to put the wheel back together and put it back in the car. That's an airbag igniter. That's an explosive device that you do not want to handle the wrong way. And now there you go. You have an 08, 09 airbag. I'm going to install that onto the wheel and I'll be done. Okay, so the connectors are connected back onto the roll connector here. Everything looks pretty good so far. I put the steering wheel on and I torqued the nut down here. I have no torque spec for that, but I just did it nice and tight. One thing to be aware of is that you need to hold the wheel, because as you turn this, the wheel is going to want to turn, and you don't want to screw anything up there. So now I'm going to put the connectors back onto the airbag, button everything up, plug in the battery, and then test her out. Okay, moment of truth, starting it up. No airbag light. Looks good. Didn't explode in my face. Okay, I need some air here. Can't quite tell if that's working or not. Let's try the cruise control. Cruise control works. And I guess we'll see if it works when I'm driving. So I've had my wheel on for about a week now, and it's felt good, it's looked good, and I'd say it's really improved the feel of the cabin. It makes the car appear a lot more modern, and for that reason alone, not to mention the quality of the leather and the feel of the steering wheel itself, I'd say it's a very worthwhile modification to do, and I'd recommend it to anybody that's got an older model Subaru or Legacy or any car of the type. So thanks for watching, and hopefully you got everything you needed from this video. If you liked what you saw, you can go ahead and subscribe and give me a like, and I'll have more to come. Thanks.